Hey there, guys, girls, and everyone in between and outside of it, and welcome back to Nimby Rails. Today it is a little bit of a different video because I will finally tackle the tutorials. I want to start with the most important information. We are currently in the version 1.15.12, as you can see here at the bottom, 17th of December. If you want to play the beta, you can activate it on Steam in the properties of Nimby Rails itself and always choose the public beta builds. There will be a few features in here that you don't know if you have played only in 1.14. So keep that in mind, that a few things are a little bit different because we're not in 1.14, we are in the beta build 1.15.12. This is the Nimby Rails main screen. You have the world map, a lot of white dots, and the logo, and of course the menu. First of all, let's talk about the menu. It is super simple. You have single player, game sharing, and multiplayer, and the options below. Continue game will send you right back into the game that you played the last time. So if I would go onto continue game right now, I would end up in my YouTube save where I'm currently working on Kaunas. If I go down to new game, I would start to create a new game and we will do it in a couple of seconds. And load game is where you get into another menu where you can choose your different saves. For example, you just played in Europe and half a month ago you played in Japan and you want to load your Japan save. That's the way to go, where you can see all your saves that are saved, all your autosaves and everything. Game sharing is super simple. You have My Shared Games and Browse Shared Games. Once you upload one of your save games, it will appear as a white dot on the map. If I go to My Shared Games, you can see there's nothing. If I go back and go to Browse Shared Games, you can see that I go into this map and you see that there are currently 1,782 shared games at the moment of recording. And you can even sort them by date, by name, by the amount of tracks, which is some of them are really crazy. 888,000 track segments, that's crazy. You can sort them by stations. Also here 25,000 is a crazy amount. By trains, 22,000 trains in a save is also crazy. And also by line, where once again 5,500 lines. It's absolutely mind-blowing. But you can also go to the map itself and zoom in. And if I, for example, now zoom into England, we go towards London. There are, of course, because it's a major city, quite a lot of saves. And then I can see here the different save games of different people and also the informations about it. If I go back to the main menu, multiplayer is super simple, join game and host game. You can host the game for your friends for free. So no servers you have to take care of. Or you join a game where you have two options. Option one is your friend list. So you will see all your friends who are currently online, offline, or playing Nimby Rails or hosting. You will see that yourself once you go in there. And the second option is a code. If you play with people who are not in your friend list, on Steam for example, they can give you the code and you can play with them. Nimby Rails wiki is also super simple. When you click on it, it opens the Nimby Rails wiki. I think there's not too much to talk about on this one. Here at the bottom you have the options, so graphics, interface, performance, the keybinds. If you are new and you have to take a look at the keybinds, here they are. Your map options with the map style mods you have. So for example, I have Midnight Canvas, Global Canvas, and Show Existing Railways. And you have also your autosaves, the amount of autosave slots and the autosave interval. In this case, the first one would be used after 50 minutes, the second one after 30 minutes, the third one after 45 minutes, and then with the next autosave interval, the first one would be overwritten again. That is how autosaves work, also theoretically super simple. You can set up all your alerts. That's something you can decide. It is nothing where we could say that there are good settings or bad settings. The alert time, that's something you can work with. So for example, alert on track is occupied or reserved. So when a train, for example, can't leave a station because the track in front is always blocked by a signal and another train, then you can say, okay, I want a warning after 1 minute or after 5 minutes or after 10 minutes, for example. I have it on 10 minutes. I don't know the standard values, to be honest, but I have it on 10 minutes because sometimes it clears up after 2 or 3 minutes. So you don't want it sitting at 1 minute. Maybe 5 minutes would be good. 10 minutes for me works well, at least for now. Then you have the uploader. It is super simple where you can upload mods to the workshop, but we will talk in a different tutorial about mods itself. So if I want to start a new game, I go to new game. We just name it Tutorial Transport. And you have two options, unlimited money and unrestricted coupling. Unrestricted coupling is important for mods later down the line, that you can take, for example, the carriages of one mod and the locomotive of another mod. Well, that's just for later when we talk about mods. Unlimited money, super simple. You can decide if you want to play with it enabled or disabled. So unlimited money is if you just want to build expensive stuff. And if you play with limited money, you have to take care on how much money you make, how much money you spend, and it gets a little bit more difficult. For the tutorial, I will put unlimited money on, and let's just start the game. I will pause it. I will disable all the mods. So you can see it here, for example, if I go to mods. I have a few mods installed, but not activated in this game. Only the built-in trains, tracks and buildings. So let's talk about the UI. Here on the top left, you have your standard info where everything is closed. You can go to your tracks. That is the UI area where you build your tracks. So, I mean, it's self-explanatory, but you can move, delete and edit tracks. You can add new tracks, you can create stations and platforms. The split and tape tool, we will talk later about that one. Create new buildings and create new points of interest, which is irrelevant at the moment. And also move signals and create signals. Stations is an area where you can see all your stations, where you can overview them. For example, currently we have 0 stations, so nothing to look at. But you have here, you have an option to give it a compact flat listing group by text, region, city. I always would tell you to group it by region and make it compact. If we go to line, same there, make it compact. It is easier once you have more than 10 lines or more than 10 stations. And here you can see all your lines. Down here you can create a new line or create a new depot line, clone selected line, intervention on the trains on the line, and delete selected line. And also a pan and zoom option. I always disable it because I know where my lines are. But if you don't know where you have built your lines, you can activate it. And once you click on the line itself, the game will teleport you to the location of the line. In the trains overview, we have 3 options. Option number 1, list all the trains you have. Here also just put it on compact. It will be better looking once you have more than 20 trains. You can also sort them by quite a lot of things. When you click on the camera, when you have a train selected and you click on the camera, it will teleport you to the train where it is currently. Then the second option is purchase pre-configured trains. So for example, the city tram, there's not a lot I can change here, only the inner parts to make it longer and have more passengers or to make it shorter. And that is with all the trains. The setup is basically given. If we go to custom trains, for example, and that is what I mean with unrestricted coupling, I can take a part of the tram, but also from other trains and couple them together. So in the custom train area, you can do whatever you want. And once you install mods, also, you can really go crazy with how you put together your trains. And especially when you want very special setups, this is your go-to place. Then the last one is the schedules. Also here, put it on compact, and all the schedules you will create, they will end up here. And it is an easy area where you can go between all the different schedules. Let's get to the second part of the UI. Here you have your ridership, the amount of people on your trains, and the amount of people who are waiting at your station, the date, the time, and you can give the game different speeds. So real time and speed up. This is only important when you need to make money. You can speed up the game, let it run. Or if you want to do a stress test or something like that, you can let it run. On the top left, you have map options. These 4 are not so relevant. I can show you them later again. This will only show you the tracks. If we go to the line overlay, it will show you all the lines, so the colors over the tracks. Speed overlay shows you the speed of the tracks, especially useful in curves. And the track reservation is important when you try to see where your trains block each other. So this is a very good debug tool for later down the line. We have the region layer, where you can see all the regions. When we are that far out, you see not too much, but if I zoom in, for example here Germany, you can see we have the 16 states of Germany, and then when we go even more, we get all these small regions. What are these regions used for? Well, for example, for the stations, you can group them by region. It will sort them by this region, and it will also go all down. So if you put a station, for example, here into Sigmaringen in Germany, it will be found under German stations and then under the Baden-Württemberg stations and then Sigmaringen, so it goes down a few layers. The other option you have here is the population layer, and for that we go to Paris because it's one of the bigger cities in Europe, and here you can see where your passengers are. If you don't rebuild systems one-to-one, this is your best tool to see where the big cities are or where bigger villages are that you need to connect, and you can also see where a ton of people are in a very small area and where less people are by the color. Here, where it gets green, there is a lot of people, so a lot of packs. If I put a station in here, you can see it has a catchment area of roughly 500,000, 450,000. If we go to Droix, for example, I'm not French, I don't know how to pronounce it, you can see it's all more in the reddish tone, a little bit of purple. So if I put a station into the city center, it's 31,000 people. So this overlay will always help you with finding where your passengers are and what you need to connect. When we go further, here's your assets list, where you see all your stations, trains and lines, and you can sort them by different things. So you have an accountings tab for all the upper things and a real-time tab. Most important for later, if you, for example, want to fix your broken networks, you can go to trains and then you have the real-time of lateness estimation. Right now there's nothing because we haven't created anything, but this later helps and it's important to know where it is. Tags also super simple. You have the normal tags from Nimby Rails, but you can create a new tag. For example, I can create Germany and then I can put all the German lines under this tag. So then you can go down and put in the different train types as different tags, and then you can see that you can work with them and they are always underneath each other. These tags are super useful if you, for example, want to sort all your lines by country, by region, or by what they are. If they're an intercity, put them all together. If they're a regional train, put them all together. Tags are good for the game, important for the game, and if you try around or play around a little bit with them for having a better overview, you will really fast understand why. Company and accounting, also super simple. You can switch to unrestricted coupling, but if you do it, you can never go back to not do it. What you want to do is normally allow unrestricted coupling if you play with mods. If you don't play with mods, just don't. And then you can refresh all line timings, all stale train interventions. The list goes down and on, and this is more for deleting everything or for fixing your network if errors occur. In the options, you can work with the time zones. You can say it's always 0, simplified, approximate. It's important for accounting and for the passenger curve. Here, the demand curve, I can show you to you here. Here at 8 AM in the morning, you have a peak. And if it's always 0, then the peak will be everywhere at the same time. If we work with time zones, then 8 AM, what we have, for example, here currently at Bangkok, it's 8:30 in the game. But if you go to Kuwait City, it's 4 AM. So while you have your peak in Bangkok, you have basically 4 AM, nothing in Kuwait City. So that's a feature you have to keep in mind if you build big networks. New track parallel offset, I can show to you. Let's just go into the desert. If it's set to 5 and I put in new tracks, no matter what I do, the second one will always be 5 meters away from the other one. It's also super simple. If you like them closer together, put them to 4 meters. So if I show to you here, oh, sorry, I have to apply it first. And here you can see the difference. One is 5 meters apart, one is 4 meters apart, center of track to center of the track. Then, next part is the PAX spawn station. I will always put it to random, it's the easiest one. You can also tell your PAX that they have to go to the next station, so which is the closest one to where they spawn, or shortest walk, but also have a look for best path. So if they have to walk a little bit longer but find a better path, they will do that. I always have it at random because it's just super simple that way. Global demand factor is also a thing. I'm not too deep into how exactly it works, but what I have found out, if you put it to 35%, it gives a realistic display of the German passenger numbers that you have in-game to reality. If you just want to build a small network, you can leave it at 100%, but if you build in bigger cities, put it down, really put it down. If you play with 100% global demand factors in cities like Tokyo, here with the station overlay, with the population overlay, you can see it's crazy. It's absolute madland, and if you play with 100% there, your trains are full before they even depart. Always put the global demand factor down if you play in densely populated area. If you don't. But you can always change it, so if you see that your network is overrun, lower it. The pathfinding bias is also important for later down the line once your network is better. If you put it to better paths, so to 0%, the passengers behave better because they always will try to find the best path, but it will kill your PC on big networks. So just leave it at the fastest sim possible. It will make things just a little bit easier. You have new station defaults here as well. Station label, I always tell people only make it name and PAX, you don't need the full one. You have a population radius on how far the demand goes. So for example here, 2.3 kilometers. If there's someone 2.5 kilometers away, they won't go to the station. If they are 2 kilometers away from the station, they will. You can change that, but I always leave it at 2.3 kilometers and only change it when, for example, I'm in very big cities, then I lower it in the stations menu. The auto walk transfer, also just keep it at 0.8. Platforms, passenger capacity, always just leave it at 25,000. Transfer overflow into hall, also just leave it. It means that if your station overflows because there are too many passengers, they will go into a hall or wait around the station and not just leave. Counting data, also super simple. will show you everything what happened on that day financially, and you can change it to week, month, quarter, year, or lifetime. Mods also, you can find them in the workshop. Here, for example, if I go to the newest ones, you see that there are always new mods that appear. If you want special things, just search it and you will definitely find them. You can activate them. So for example, if I do it for the Tetra KT4, I say enable, now it's in the game. So super simple, you can just activate and download mods and you don't even have to close the game. And then if I go to purchase pre-configured one, you can see here it appears like magic. It's not even magic, you get used to it. It's super simple. You can search. For example, if I search for the German city of, I can't even write, Hanover, that's the one somewhere in the US here, that's Germany. So you can find places you want to search for, and the main menu is just what we already talked about. But yes, so that is it for today. The next one will be up next week, where we talk about stations, buildings, creation of lines and schedules. That will be part 2. I will create a playlist of all. And if you have any more questions, please just ask them. Why I show you Nimby Rails on Steam is I have 2,856 hours. And my biggest fear is that I'm like my mathematics teacher who has explained it so often in his entire life that he doesn't even realize that he can't explain it good. That is my biggest fear. If you have any questions, just ask them in the comments or visit the Weird and Wry Discord of the dev, where you can always ask questions and people from the community will help you. But that's it for today, and I will see you again very soon when we continue with the Let's Play of Lithuania or the Baltics currently, or if you watch this in a playlist, I will see you again in the next tutorial. So see you soon, bye bye.